Hello, this is Veritas Podcast. I'm Dr. Lachin Hatemi. Today we have a special guest, James Richardson. James had been with us from the day one. Everybody knows James if he ever came to my clinic. Today it will be about James, his life, his experiences, who he is, and all the questions you want to be answered by him. And we were going to ask all those tough questions so you know our famous James a little bit more. Hi, James. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Doc. So hopefully you've had a pleasant weekend so far.
Oh, yeah. Weekend had been great, and it's even greater right now. So we're going to talk about you. So
Awesome.
we wanted to have you on this podcast for a long time now, but today is the day. So we know each other for quite a bit, right? We know each other for like 7 years.
Yeah, it's going on almost about 10 years now.
10 years, close to 10 years. We worked together at Medcare, and then when I opened the clinic, you were the employee number one. James was on the number one on the list, and we were able to steal him from our competitor, which I used to work for. And then James joined our company, and we have been through thick and thin, through the pandemic, and you worked with us at many different capacities. You did our x-rays. You're our clinical manager, so you're the person in charge in our Lexington clinic, and you're the problem solver and keep everybody on check to make the operations go smoothly. So James, tell us about what you do. What's your background? Where were you born? Where are you coming from? And what did you do throughout your entire life? Let's start the day one, like the day you were born. Where were you born?
All right. Well, day one, I was born 1981 in Mobile, Alabama. I'm actually James Richardson III. My dad's junior. Him and my mother, they were married around that same time, and they decided to move from Mobile, Alabama, after joining the military to Germany, because that's where the military sent them. So pretty much through my whole childhood, I was a military kid, and I moved every 2.5 years.
So you lived in Germany. Where else did you live? How long did you live in Germany?
Well, the first time, I want to say about 3 years. I was a baby. We moved back from Germany after that, back to, I want to say, Fort Polk, which is in some part of Missouri. You don't need to go there. Don't even look it up on the map. Sorry for people in Missouri. And then a couple years we stayed there, and then we moved back to Germany again. My sister and brother were both born around that time, and I want to say around about the late 80s, we moved back to America. By then, German was actually my second language. It was technically my first language. So I started school there for first grade, went back to Germany, started school in America. Did not like it because it was hot. Germany was super hot. Georgia was super hot, but I did love the food. I love the food for the South. And since then, with my parents, we just moved everywhere. Fun fact, I actually graduated high school in Fairbanks, Alaska.
So you've been to Alaska, wow. From Georgia, hot nights of Georgia to Alaska, cold Alaska. Which one is your favorite? Germany, Alaska, Georgia, or anywhere in between? What was your favorite place you lived?
I would have to say probably Alaska. It was just a little bit of everything. Nice fresh air. We had moose. We had caribou, which most people colloquially call reindeer. And we even had the North Pole there. Like literally a North Pole is in Alaska.
In the nature, did you do any hunting, any fishing, or any outdoor activities there?
Oh, yes. I have all kind of embarrassing stories. Hunting. There was a time we went ice fishing. I actually wasn't paying attention. My father gave me stern words not to play around in a little fishing hole, and I actually played around in it, and my foot slipped into the fishing hole.
Okay.
And from then, it stopped being fun.
I always want to go to Alaska, never have a chance to go. So what made you come to South Carolina?
Well, I ended up joining the military myself, and I thought it'd be a great idea to do like my dad, become a soldier. So I thought they'd send me maybe somewhere like the Middle East, hopefully Japan, and they sent me from Fairbanks, Alaska to El Paso, Texas. So I served 5 years in the military, and then from there I met a woman from South Carolina, got married, and we moved here because we didn't want to be in Hurricane Alley in the Gulf Coast where my family's at.
Wow, such a story. You've been in a lot of places. So do you miss military?
I miss it. There was great times. I made a lot of friends. It was a lot of good memories, but there's also some sad memories too. But I'm proud to say I served my country.
So you're a veteran. So a lot of people don't know about James, that James is a veteran. Served their country proudly. So what did you do in the military? What was your job?
I was actually an x-ray tech, but also a medic. So I did pretty much what I'm doing now, just with a uniform on.
Oh, wow. It's the same job. You learned the skills in the military, x-ray tech and taking care of patients. Wow. Probably interesting experiences. So, and what you like about the work? Like, what you think about like working in urgent care? You work urgent care most of your life. I think you have some hospital experience too.
Yeah, I have several years. Majority of my Army service was actually in military hospitals. I worked at William Beaumont, which was originally one of the top 5-star medical facilities for the military. After that, when I left the military, I started working in larger facilities. Did mostly X-ray, some CT. Every once in a while, I cross over and go to like little urgent cares. But I really didn't start my passion for urgent cares until I moved to South Carolina.
You really like dealing with patients. I mean, patients love you. You have a huge following in the clinic, and I think you have a knack for taking care of people. I think you're great in patient care. People love dealing with you, and you're a great problem solver. I think I never seen you mad. You know, I would get mad, people get mad, and I never see you getting angry. James, you're always such a calm presence in the clinic. How you manage to do that? How do you keep a smile on even if people annoy you or make you mad? How do you stay calm?
Well, I definitely get mad, but the things I get mad about are things that are a little bit more personal, like people being late, stuff like that's fine. But I always like to think that each one of our staff members, but also the patients, are like family. I like to pass it on that if I'm having a bad day, I could at least make somebody else's day better. And it usually actually ends up making my day better. There's been times I'm coming there and I've been frustrated about something personal. The first patient I triage, they're walking, talking, they're in pain. I'm thinking like, wow, this could be me. I really don't have stuff that I could be mad about. Usually it turns around for me.
Yeah. So what you do for fun? Like, what are your hobbies? Like when you're not working in the clinic, what you do on your days off? What you do?
Well, I usually spend a little bit of time with both my daughters. We all live right here, of course, in South Carolina. I have an older daughter from a previous marriage. She lives in Seattle with my grandson and her wonderful husband. And we usually spend time fishing. We like going outside. We've tried to get back into bowling, but we're not that good at it. But we're going to get better. And just pretty much outside things. There are times we like to just hang out because it's been hot this summer. We like to watch movies. We just saw a couple little animated movies this weekend, actually.
So what did you watch?
We didn't watch Ninja Turtles, the remake.
Is it good? Do you like it?
It's actually not bad. For somebody who grew up in the 80s, Ninja Turtles was center of like pretty much all of our childhoods. And I love the fact that my daughters are like really into it.
So they liked it? Your daughters liked it?
They did.
I think Ninja Turtles was my first movie I ever watched. It was in Turkey, in Turkish. So that was the first time ever in my life I went to a movie theater and watched a movie.
Oh, wow. I think my first movie by myself was The Men in Black. But the first movie I remember watching was The Land Before Time.
And James and me, we are both born in the same year, so we are about the exact same age. He's 1981, I'm 1981, so we grew up in the exact same time. So we have a lot of common things. So what else do you like? You like computer games?
I do like my computer games, I admit. I've officially retired from gaming, so I limit myself to just pretty much my Nintendo Switch. Sometimes I'll get on there with my daughters and we'll play some Mario Kart. We like to play some Smash Brothers. But for the most part, I like to really just read good old-fashioned books. Yeah, I've upgraded from regular hardbacks to e-books, so if you catch me with my iPad, just know I got books on I'm trying to read.
What's the last book you read?
I want to say every year at least I read once or twice The Art of War. I love classic African-American novelists, W.D. Du Bois, The Souls of Black People. That's probably one of my common read books. But a little bit of everything, actually. I'm into science fiction. Love classic Greek mythology. Things like the Iliad, the Odyssey, all that stuff. Yeah,
Go deep.
A little bit of everything. Tale of Two Cities. But don't get me started on even like Shelley, all the classic monster books too.
Wow. How about Alexander Dumas? Do you ever read his books?
I want to say I've kind of dabbled with his work, but I couldn't give any like major quotes or anything like that. But yeah, I have a queue of books that is so long you'd be sad almost.
I mean, one of my famous works of Alexander Dumas, the Count of Monte Cristo. That's my favorite book and favorite movie actually too.
Yeah.
I think the most recent one is my favorite movie. I love the storyline, and a lot of people doesn't know he's black actually. Alexander Dumas. He's one of the pillars of the French literature, and many great books written by him.
That's actually a great update. Yeah, that storyline has been redone several times. I mean, there's countless remakes of the movies, but the book itself has influenced so many modern classics. Usually, anytime you see the trope where somebody's being betrayed by loved ones and family members, it's probably a reference, if it's a close loved one, to the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, Count of Monte Cristo is a lot of men find some kind of a connection to that book, the storyline, and they find a piece of it in their own lives. That great comeback, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that great comeback from the bottom to the top, and it's always a part of it. How about sports? Did you play any sports in your life? Or?
Well, I was always very athletic, but I was never the guy to actually go out on the team. Believe it or not, even though everybody thinks I'm joking, I was actually a really shy child. I was a shy young man.
So, like, the food, what you like? Do you have a certain cuisines you like? Do you go out very often, go to restaurants?
Well, we usually try to go out and get a little bit of everything, but it always ends up being probably Italian cuisine at the end of the day. Italian cuisine, but we can do a lot of Korean barbecue. We definitely love Japanese food. Really trying to get a little bit more into like different cuisines like French and maybe even Middle Eastern. But I think you got us on that with the Greek olive though.
Yeah, I got him on the Middle Eastern food. So. Hey, you work for me. You're going to eat some Middle Eastern food. There's no way around it.
I highly
Greek
recommend
food,
it.
Middle Eastern food, Turkish food. You are forced to eat. You don't have an option. You cannot get out of it. We force feed you.
But it is. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
What's your favorite Italian restaurant? Do you go around here? Or?
Oh, we got a couple different places that we normally go to. It's not so much Italian, but it's the it's a little place right across the way from us. Goodness, I can't even think of the name. It escapes me right now. If I let my youngest daughter, we would be at Olive Garden every other weekend.
Really?
Yes. So we've been trying to work on Jamie. We try to get her out of the not so much franchise, but good old fashioned local places.
Olive Garden is actually good food. I like Olive Garden. I mean, like, you know, it gets a bad rap because it's corporate.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's better than some mom and pop Italian restaurants. I mean, no offense, but they're not bad at all. I mean, their food is pretty decent. I mean, for me at least. Do you cook at all yourself?
Oh yes. Even though if you listen to them, they would tell you that I'm not allowed to cook. But yeah, I do. I like to sling a pot or two in the kitchen. I'd say breakfast is probably my more strongest suit, but I've recently gotten into barbecuing like my brother, but I usually like to do a couple steaks myself.
So you're good at barbecuing?
I'm working on it. Yeah. My brother's the cuisine grill master when it comes to barbecue, but I have a lot of skills I need to improve on.
Well, somebody told me, a very wise man I met once told me, men get into two different things after they're age 40. It's one of them is barbecuing, the second one is World War II history. You know, they have, for some reason, every man after their age 40, they get into these two topics and they go deep. You know, fine-tuning their skills, and they go to these extreme techniques to have to cook the perfect meat. Mm-hmm. And then or they go into World War II documentaries and talk about the Battle of the Midway, Pearl Harbor, and the German Blitzkrieg, and all kinds of stuff. Like, they go deep and study that. I guess that's a man's evolution, food or the World War II.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm actually guilty of that too. Because if you listen to some of the staff members, they say all they usually talk about is quotes from Patton or something about Midway. Actually, I think I went on a monologue earlier today about the Japanese invasion of Korea, and some of the staff members just kind of walked off quietly.
There was some interesting dark times, you know, World War II, Japanese invasion, Pearl Harbor, Battle of the Midway. I mean, I was in Seattle last week, and I was in the Flight Museum, and they were talking about the Battle of the Midway, how they did it. It was very impressive stuff, like what our country did and what risks we took back in the day.
Yeah. War was fought a whole different way back then. Even the concept of just the kamikaze, having explained that to younger generations, for a person to get into a plane patriotic enough to know that they're going to fly across the ocean and literally fly that plane into another building or enemy combatant's facility, that takes a whole different level of dedication.
I was reading, it was quotes from military pilots, you know, the aces, the people like heroes, kamikazes and all that. And they say, you know, being a military pilot is a very weird occupation because you are literally trying to kill a person on the other side that's about the same level of intelligence and skills as you. And if you really meet that person outside of the war, you will have to love to drink a couple of beer and then exchange stories with that guy, and you're literally there to kill them and fight with them. Otherwise, you'll be the best friends because you're at the same level. So that was a different times. Like these guys would jump on their planes and go after each other. You know, I mean, I cannot imagine their mindset, how they did that. You know,
I mean, it's true. But every soldier, we're told, and it's drilled into us on the first day that the uniform you put on may actually be the uniform that you're buried in. So it's a sobering thought. It makes you proud, but also kind of grounds you in reality. Because the person you're seeing across the battlefield probably is another guy just like you who really just wants to get home to his family and loved ones.
So you follow your father's. Your father was the influence for you to join the military? Was he promoting you to go to the military, or it was your decision solely?
Well, he was a first-generation soldier directly for the Army, but I'm actually a sixth-generation serviceman when it comes to the whole military.
Wow.
Yeah, my great-grandfather was in World War II. We date back before him. We have family members that we can't actually prove on paperwork that we know of just through word of mouth that were actually serving the Buffalo Soldiers regiments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my great-grandfather did World War II. My grandfather was a paratrooper in Vietnam. Yeah, he was a paratrooper. He came back home, started a family. He met my grandmother. My dad ended up being an MP, which is basically the military version of a cop or a policeman. And then I went into myself as a medic because I just wanted to do something a little different.
So some of your ancestors were right next to Theodore Roosevelt, huh?
Pretty
in
much, right
the
there.
Buffalo Soldiers? Wow.
Yeah. Now, fun fact, since you brought up Theodore Roosevelt, my actual grandson, him and my daughter and her husband, they're actually in Seattle right now, where you were just at last week. Mm-hmm. They're moving to, I guess, the base right there in San Diego because he's a Marine. And my grandson's name is actually Teddy.
Teddy?
Theodore.
I know a lot about Theodore Roosevelt because it was one of the first papers ever wrote in the United States. It was actually history. I was taking history class, and they asked me to write an article about the life of Theodore Roosevelt. And I almost got 0 on that assignment because I didn't know Theodore Roosevelt is different than FDR. They're both Roosevelt, so I confused them. I was very confused after I'm done with that paper because Theodore Roosevelt is this maverick, you know, he's boxer, he's fighter. I mean, he's such a daredevil. And then FDR is on a wheelchair, is stricken by polio, and he grew up very sheltered from the rest of the world. And I had to write a paper. I mixed their lives together. I mean, I thought they were the same person because they have the same last name. They were both presidents. Yeah. And I was very confused. It's like, this guy is a boxer or he's a wheelchair-bound individual, and they were two different people. So I did get a 0. They allowed me to write it again because I was a foreigner. I didn't know the presidents that well, I guess. But Theodore Roosevelt was quite a president, you know. He left quite a legacy, especially like national parks, other things they did in the Rough Riders and, Buffalo Soldiers. Kind of. So you have a lot of military background, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Over to, wow. So that's why you're probably very good with the veterans, you know. I guess you have a special place in your heart for our veteran patients.
Oh, definitely do. I had several family members, great uncles also. They also joined. So a good chunk of my family, we were all military related. Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. So what you like about your patient care, how you keep your calm and how you deal with the patients, the way you deal? I mean, I lose my calm sometimes. You know, it's hard to stay always happy and productive. And you never back down. I mean, you're very good with dealing with patients. You know.
Well, I like to say it's almost like a mission. I mean, you have a job, but for me, it feels more like a calling. Like, I just love talking to people. Again, I was a really shy kid, so my way of getting out of it, sometimes my dad would be like, look, I just need you to go across the store, pick up some Skittles, and just say hi to somebody. And then I want you to check out and everything. I'll be like, well, Dad, I'm nervous. What if they laugh at me? And it just eventually just started clicking. That plus moving every 2.5 years, because you have to reinvent yourself if you go to a new school. You eventually find out what becomes acceptable. You kind of figure out what's not cool. Maybe the next time you just reset. But all that goes back into healthcare. Like, we see sometimes probably starting out 50 to 60 people a day, and you get 50 to 60 different stories.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at everybody as a different story, you really get the chance to just interact with multiple people. And most of these people are actually having probably one of the worst days of the year. So you always have to be considerate. Yeah, sometimes they do come in, and some of them are actually kind of upset or grumpy. But once you really talk to them and just ask them how their day's going, most of them usually, for the most part, come out their shell.
I think you won't do very well with a desk job. I think you're built to deal with the general public. I think you need you need a healthcare job. I think you will get bored if somebody puts in a desk and do some mundane work. I think you're built for this kind of job. Like, I can't imagine you for another job.
Well, I do a little bit of IT stuff. I mean, I do a little bit of photography editing, and there was even a time I had my own photography company for about 2 years when I first moved here.
Yeah.
But I just like people. I like people. Every once in a while, my social like bubble kind of burns out. But for the most part, even on my days off, I just like going out and just observing and watching people.
Yeah, it's fun. You never get bored in urgent care. That's one job you will always see. It's like a reality show every single day. It never gets old. You always run into the same people, and it's just like a family. You know, our patients become our family, even if you want it or you don't want it. Yeah. You see their faces like 50 times. You got to know little bits and pieces of their lives, and
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you know, I get so many times, you know, they're asking, where's James? Is James working today? Is James here? Where's James? Where's James? I want to say hi to James. I want to say bye to James before I leave. I mean, patients are asking about you, you know. They're like, dude, like, let's take care of the problem here. I said, no, they want to see James before they leave. They bring you gifts. They want to see you. They want to hug you. I mean, James has a fan club. You know, we're going to start selling cups with James' picture on it to raise funds for James's next vacation. Oh. So that's one of our plans. So I think it will be a bestseller, James. People really love you.
Well, I usually tell patients the same phrase. We try to treat you like family, but the good family, not the family that borrows money from you around February and then they duck and dive you all year until Thanksgiving when they're forced to see you. And it actually comes true. Like, we've seen some people for the whole 4 years. There are a lot of patients that actually followed you when we actually left the original practice.
I mean, patients become family almost at a point. You know a lot about them. You see their whole families. They tell you all their secrets that their family doesn't know about, which I cannot reveal, but due to federal privacy laws. But you are there to help them, because people come to urgent care to seek help. Yeah. They don't come to greet you. They're not there to hang out with you. They're there because they have a problem, and you solve their problem. So it's almost an instant gratification, and you're very good. You're very good at what you do. You're good at dealing with the patients. You're good at drawing blood, managing the clinic, you know, with the employees and the patients. I mean, you're a great manager. And James is actually the manager in the Lexington clinic, so he's the man in charge. So if you have any problem with the clinic, James is the person who's there to manage it. I mean, he's in the management capacity there, and in certain tasks that even I cannot manage, James is the one who's managing it. So I'm not as good as him with the people skills, unfortunately. When we have a problem with a patient or employee or anybody, our providers, you know, James is the one who goes and talks to them and smooths it out and solves the problems and make the engine running, you know. And he has great skill set in dealing with the people. And, you know, that shows how high EQ you have. You know, EQ is a very rare commodity in this day and age. And you have plenty of that skill set, I guess. Your daily life, your military experience, your work experience, and your personality, you know, make that happen. So what are your career goals? What you want to do in the future? Where you see yourself in the 5 years, 10 years? Do you want to move here? Or you want to live here, continue to live here? Or you want to, what else do you want to dedicate for the rest of your life in the next 10 years, say?
Well, I know it's going to be something to do with general public. I mean, I know that I'm eventually, as the manager and director, I have to probably go back and do a lot less work on the floor when it comes to direct patient care. But I do always want to be able to have the time, like maybe during the day, to just come out and be like, hey, guys, you know, let me just hop out here, talk to some of these patients, you know, maybe draw some blood, do some x-rays. But down the line, as we expand, realistically, just keep doing what we're doing, just on a bigger level. I mean, we're going to hopefully maybe move even as far out to Batesburg at some point. So as we expand, teach these skills, pass these on, just like the people that I carry on my back for the military, my mentors, my teachers. I mean, at that point in my career, after 21 years of doing this, I'm actually the older guy who's slightly disgruntled, which I tell the younger people, slightly disgruntled old guy, and just pass these skills on to them and watch them blossom and become new techs.
Yeah, it would be great to mentor people, actually. If you need mentorship, you want to know somebody who's had been to military, had been to healthcare, and now in management and going up and up, James would be a great mentor. And we would love to have people with military experience to come join us. You can grow in healthcare. A lot of their experiences, a lot of their skills they gain in the military and life can actually play very productive and very useful in the healthcare setting. The military is dealing with people, healthcare is dealing with people, and you need to have the discipline. And that discipline is very vital. Veterans make great employees, and we love hiring them. We love because we treat a lot of veterans too. So. What else can we make to make it more relatable for the patients? You do great things. So, James, what else you do? Like, other than eating out and playing computer games and reading books, like, do you play any instruments or anything like that?
Yeah, I was in concert band through most of middle school and the majority of high school. I started actual marching band my eighth grade year. Yeah, I played trombone and baritone.
Wow, you did?
Oh, yeah. I'm not the best with the piano, but I do actually play piano. I can read music. My middle daughter, Catherine, she actually plays piano. She got that skill from my mom. Yeah, my mom plays piano for the church down. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. My father, after retiring at the military, he retired and moved right back to Mobile, Alabama, and he's actually a pastor at Living Water Baptist Church, him and my mom.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You have pastors in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in a very religious family, like going to Sunday church and every Sunday, not missing it?
Yeah, I want to say between church and school, those were pretty much non-negotiable. You made the church every Sunday, and we made the school. So I was told the Richardsons, we don't have to be the smartest people in class, but we're going to be punctual and we're going to be respectful.
I guess growing up South, church is a big part of your life. The music, the camaraderie and the friendships. It becomes almost your family, like something to look forward to, go to church every Sunday. That's cool. That's something I never did in my life, so I always wondered about that brotherhood happens on the Sundays. I didn't grow up in a religious family, so religion was never a part of my life. I was looking to people who actually go to church or temple once a week, looking into that traditions, unites. And your dad is a pastor, so it's not like an outsider, actually. It's somebody who's very active.
Yes.
So you're a preacher's son, huh?
Yeah, I am now. He didn't become a preacher or a pastor until actually I'd already moved out and started my military career. But we knew it. We knew it our whole childhood. If I, as a teenager, let's just say I came home after the lights went out, we get home and he'd have like a pulpit waiting in our room. So we had to listen to a 20-minute sermon. And then we got punished after that.
So he was training all his life with you guys, and then
was.
after he retired, it's a boom, natural progression to preacher.
Yeah, he was. He did. He just went from unilateral, from serving the military, serving the country, to serving the community as a pastor.
Some people are built for preaching. I've never been one of them, but like some people are just built for preaching, man. It's just like a natural skill that comes out of them. They're built. They have the personality for it. Are you good with public speaking yourself, or?
I, at one point, was going through a phase where I thought maybe I was going to go into maybe some kind of form of clergy or into some service with the church. But I just found that public speaking was fun, but my real passion was actually being a little bit more hands-on. Yeah, so I'm not nervous in front of the microphone, but usually spiritual things were nice, but I can go on and on about pretty much radiation and x-rays probably just as much, if not more.
I wish you can make a teacher for the radiations, like the X-ray school, training the new generations. There's a huge shortage of X-ray techs and imaging personnel. I mean, we have difficult time recruiting, and I wish you can train them, that you'll be a great teacher, actually. Maybe a teaching is on their career. Maybe you teach at Midlands Tech or USC, the next generations of X-ray techs and imaging personnel. And we are very happy and we are very lucky to have James on board. He's a irreplaceable piece of our team, member of our team, and people love him. Without James, we couldn't have done what we have done so far. And going forward, and we would love to grow together. We'd love to build this company together. We love to serve together to our community. And the patients will be very, very sad if you ever leave one day. So don't leave us ever, because we are worried about upsetting a lot of ladies, and and a lot of patients, and men and female both love you. Literally, every time they come to their clinic, they ask about you. If they don't see your face, they're upset. It's like, where's James? Is he still here? Is he on vacation? Where's James? Where's James? James is still here around the corner, taking care of other patients, but we have to explain where you are every single time. They don't see your face, and it's a good feeling. Some people are still watching out for you.
Yeah. I have to say, I enjoy it. Like I said, I've been doing this for 21 years. Being able to work in different facilities every day. I always like to emphasize to yourself and Madison, I'm just grateful for the opportunity that you gave
We are
us.
grateful to have you. Without our team, we are just a building and a whole bunch of equipment. What makes a clinic, a workplace, what it is their employees and their staff and the people who makes it happen. If you don't come up to work and take care of the patients with a smile, make them comfortable in their difficult times, you are very good at making nervous people comfortable. We have patients who are upset, they're not comfortable, they are not feeling, and James is perfect. Ease them out, make them feel comfortable and less nervous, then you are great. I have seen so many patients, they are very upset and very volatile, and then after James leave their rooms, and they're just calm as it gets, and they are very happy to be there, and their experience takes a U-turn by just your presence and by your touch. That's a skill like not everybody have. It's a gift, God's gift to you, I guess, and you're sharing that gift with other people. We are very lucky to have you, Humboldt. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments, and James would love to answer it personally. So I know you guys want to know a lot about James. He's a young single male, and he's free on the weekends every other week.
Yeah, every other weekend.
And if you want to know about James, we would like to know about you. So let us know. Thank you, James. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.